Now then, welcome back to another episode of Avant 3 on the FTOG server. Now, today's going to be a very difficult one for me. An episode which I've done a little bit of research on, but I have not ever put into practice before. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it right. I don't know if I've got all of the stuff that I need to do it. But we are getting into the Mekanism ore processing. Okay? So we did this stuff last episode. Last episode we got all of the different ores that I'm producing straight into the Elite Enriching Chamber or Elite Enriching Factory. And it processes it all super fast. Faster than I actually need. Because look, it's empty right now. Which means I'm not producing any of the ores fast enough to warrant it. But I will be running quarries and potentially stuff like that as well. While I've got so much stuff though, while I've got so many blocks of everything, while the resources are high, I don't need to worry too much. So I had to link. So not really worried about it being that I've done the Elite Enriching Factory. May as well go big or go home, right? And I'm not so happy about the spacing of everything. I think I'm going to have to do some changing around and setting up and sorting out a little bit just to make it look a little bit better. Power-wise, I'm not really using a lot right now on these things. Look, there's a little bit of power going out, and that's about it. Nothing too special. I did change something around, though. Let me show you over here. I've changed the resource miner to over this side and put the ore miner back over this side. If you remember, this was the original setup. But now because I'm using the modular storage, it doesn't really matter which machine feeds the modular storage on this one and the modular storage on that one both go to the right places, and as you can see by the blocks removing themselves here, as fast as it's coming in, it's going back out again. So it's covered, it's sorted, everything's going in the right places from it. The reason I changed it round though, because this solar panel here produces a little over 20,000 RF per tick, and the resource miner uses very little power, whereas this uses a ton of power. So I've kept this with a solar panel all to itself, because it needs like millions of RF to produce the ores, whereas the resource miner needs thousands of RF to produce the ores. And of course I've now connected this solar panel across to the factory. So if the factory is going to be processing all the ores, it needs more power. So I thought a quick switch over would do perfectly. The ore miner has all the power it can. The resource miner only uses a few thousand power, or few thousand RF of a 20,000 RF per tick. So there's loads coming through the rest of the factory. So I figured that would be a good start to change it around there. I've also had to add another couple of ores. Mekanism copper and Mekanism tin, which weren't added before. I thought it was kind of working, but there was that many still in here that I realised that it wasn't actually pulling out and putting into here. I'd got Mekanism copper already in there, and this was full at one point. This was up to the full 300, full up to bursting, and so I thought everything was fine until I started using some of the stuff to test out some of this over here. So what do we got going on over here? Right. So Mekanism mod has many tiers of ore processing. The first tier, the enrichment chamber, not the enrichment chamber, the energized smelter. It says enrichment chamber on Walia, which is totally wrong. It's an energized smelter. It is basically a furnace that you give power to and it smelts things. That is all it is. That is what it does. Okay, so put ores in there, ingots come out there. 1 for 1, generally. At the minute, you can see dust is going in there. That is the tier 1 version of Mekanism, where we double ores. And that is very simply, you put ores into a basic, or an enriching factory, or an enriching chamber. I could do it with an elite enriching chamber like this one. I could, but I'm not going to. And I've just been testing now with putting ores directly into there. That then produces 2 dust off each ore. So basic ore doubling. And this is just going into the chest, being pulled out and put into there as the dust itself gets then smelted into the 2 ingots. Yeah? easy enough to register. Easy. I've also done a few of the mechanism upgrades. I'm frozen in space. Frozen in space. Let me get in here. This is the biggest problem I've got right now with this. Let me deal with this right away. Actually, let's just put a little platform here, just because I'm going to be needing a landing platform for getting in through that door. This was the plan, was to have this as a door, stepping in through these things. The design side of things for the factory here, the ore processing plant, is going to happen after I've figured out how it all works. So I've got to get the ores from there to here, right? Or rather to here. I've got to get the ores from over there into here through processing. Now, I could just send the ores directly into the smelter and cook them up one for one. I could send the ores directly into the enriching factory to double the ores and then send them into the smelter to make double ingots come out at the other end, right? This room's still pretty much the end result stuff. And I did set it up like over here with the remote awareness upgrades. So from any of the inventory panels, let's go find an inventory panel. I got inventory panel. I've only got one at the minute. I can't always jump for some reason. I can't always get my fly on. But all of the nuggets and nether quartz and the diamonds and the ores and everything that is stored in that location is also available through this inventory panel. I'm actually doing all my crafting in here. And when I'm not doing it in there, I'm doing my crafting in here. So I'm just using that really as access to my stores, not a crafting grid from my stores directly, because I end up throwing too much junk into the crafting grid, which means that I botch up all my nice, neat stores. But anyway, yeah, I could just send the ores directly into this system, and they would all double up and process. But there is a tier 2, and a tier 3, and a tier 4, and I think a tier 5 as well of this whole process. It just gets more complicated, but it always feeds into the same end result. So with a tier 2, we've got to, first of all, take the ores into another chamber, a purification chamber, that's it, and feed it some oxygen and crush it and make it into clumps and all sorts of stuff. So we've got 2 more machines to add in. So we're going to make them now. I'm lost for what I'm doing, really. I don't necessarily know. I've never done it before, so excuse me with all the derps. I also moved this around a little bit. I did mention a couple of episodes ago that I wanted it more symmetrical. Now it is more symmetrical in keeping with this lot. And I added in 2 more enrichment chambers here. And these are carbon and carbon, or they should be carbon. Let me take some more coal out of there. And this has basically been making steel for me. I've been putting iron ingots up at the top here with coal, and that's been making the enriched iron, and then the enriched iron automatically comes down to here and gets mixed with more carbon to make steel. So I'm making steel dust at the moment, just because I never know when I'm going to need steel, and it's quite a long-winded process, so I thought I'd just have it automatically feeding from the top there. I put a stack of iron ingots in, and it just processes through and ends up in here. The problem then, though, is I've got to then smelt it, and I haven't put a smeltery in here. So these are rubbish, by the way. Extra utilities, furnaces, rubbish. You put anything into here to generate power, and these just constantly use the power, even when they're not in use. They don't hold power, which means that every time I come to it, I've got to put some more coal in the generator to make it work, which is more realistic, I suppose, but very, very annoying when you're playing modded Minecraft like this. I could hook it up to the main supplies, I know, but I was just trying to keep extra utilities stuff on its own there. I've also got another access point to all my crafting stuff over here as well, which is quite cool. Alright, so, first up then, what do we need to make? We need to make a purification chamber. A purification chamber. There's basic purifying, there's advanced purifying, elite purifying, and a purification chamber. So what I want to do, I need an enrichment chamber to make a purification chamber. Okay, so what I want to do is make an enrichment chamber. I haven't looked at any of these recipes in advance to know what I'm doing. But what I will do, I'll make the basic version of it, and then if it becomes backlogged at any point in the future, then I will turn it into a factory. As we know, then it's got more slots for processing. So I'll do it that way. But for right now, we just make the purification chamber, which is one of them. And then we upgrade it to the purification chamber like that. We need the red things, okay. So we get 2 of those. 1, 2. Did make a few of these basic controllers, but I obviously didn't make enough. Remember how to make those now then. That is osmium with redstone. There's some redstone. There's some osmium. Put them into this purification chamber. Make some of that stuff up. Need 1 or 2 more. Have I got this set up to eject on there? I've got that set up. I need to output auto eject on. I've been changing these now. I understand how they work. It's very much like the thermal expansion stuff. Pretty easy to understand. It would be nicer if the GUI told you what slot was what, though. Even though it's fairly self-explanatory if you've been playing modded Minecraft for a while, it would be easier for new users to be able to see what side is which. It's just easier. But that should create them in here. Yes, it does. So we've got another one of those. There we go. 2 of those. And then we just make that up. And that should be it. Should be all in place. Yes. Okay. A purification chamber. Now, the purification chamber, basically, I put the raw ore and oxygen into a purification chamber, and it makes 3 clumps from an ore. So it triples, right? But where do I get the oxygen from? The oxygen comes from a electric pump and electrolytic separator. Electrolyte separator, right? So Electrolyte separator is that thing there, which is another interesting looking recipe, isn't it? That's a weird one. Can I make that already? Do I have it? I need gold grit and enriched alloy. I'm down to 4 enriched alloy already. Okay, gold grit though. How do I make gold grit? I guess I chop up some gold. If I put it in here, does it crush down into gold grit or something else? Yes, it does gold grit from immersive engineering. Okay, well, I'll make a few of those because I don't know how much I'm going to actually need. Put some of that in there, and that would work for that. The enriched alloy is redstone and iron, which I don't think I've got any going at the minute. So let's go and get some of that. I'm going to be doing lots of this, lots of running around getting things from places today, because I really don't know what to plan ahead. I don't know what I need to do to plan ahead. Get rid of that now and put a couple of those in. It only needs, well, it'll make 4 there. So I got any more redstone? I need some more redstone as well. I'll keep batching it up whenever I can. I'll make as much as I can whenever I can. Just because I need to get as much of this done as possible. So purification chamber is what I needed. This is now able to craft that electrolyte core, and then this should be craftable. No, it needs iron and redstone in there as well. I'll just put all the iron in there and put all the redstone in there as well. Do I get some more redstone here? Yes, I do. I hate taking it out of that place because I have to restock it afterwards. Okay, so that's then the electrolyte separator. So that's going to take water and separate it into oxygen and hydrogen, or H2O. So we're going to take water in there, and then it should separate it into oxygen and hydrogen gases, I would expect. So I'm going to need some of that pipe, no doubt, that moves gases around. I'm also going to need a water source. Now, I didn't know this before, but pressure pipes has this very simple infinite water source. I used the reservoir previously, And I should probably have had a little bit more of a look around. I want a bucket. Oh, I want 2 buckets. And I'm going to go and get some water from this thing over here. See, this is a infinite water structure that's a reservoir. It auto pumps out and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I was used to before, Ender IO. So that's what I was using previously. But now I've seen this single block infinite water source. I'm chuffed to bits. That one there. There we go. And one of those. Thank you. Alright, gives me the buckets back. Even better. Okay. So I've got an infinite water source to feed into the electrolyte separator. And next up I need to have some kind of pipe that will move that around. So for mechanism, I'm going to use mechanism pipes. Basic mechanical pipes, pump rate of 100, pump rate of 4,000. I don't know how much I'm going to need. So let's start with a basic one. 2 steel and a bucket, or a steel and a bucket, makes 8. So that'll probably be enough to get started there. And then, I don't know if I need to pump it in directly there or whether that'll work that way around. But either way, that should then go into the Purification Chamber. I think that's how it works. That into the Purification Chamber. And then, once I've got the clumps from there, I need to crush those clumps in a mechanism crusher. Which is one of these. Again, it's got... oh, it hasn't got any factory versions, so it's just got one version to do. Okay. And that needs 2 lava buckets. Okay, well... I guess I will have to go and find some lava now. I don't physically have any lava on me, do I? Oh, actually, yeah, I do. Oh, it's in here. Because I've got some old tanks from back at the warehouse when I was using lava over there. So yeah, there we go. We've got some lava in here. Good, good. Let's just plonk that down there for now. Take those 2, just in case. And then throw those into there. And that should give me... craft one of that. Awesome. Throw that in there. So then we've got the crusher. Alright, let's see if we can set all of that up over in the ore processing then. I'm going to keep the ore processing stuff done fairly roughly to start off with, like I say. Just so that I can see it all lined up and in working order across this place. And then after I've done that, I want to see how many things I need of each to keep up with the ore miner. Because obviously I may have a backlog in certain areas and need to duplicate some of them. I don't know what I'm going to need to duplicate yet. Did Thor arrive? Oh yeah. Torgal has arrived. I shall say hello to him as well. I missed him completely. I was too busy crafting. Okay, so we're going to have... well, we're going to basically have this crusher putting the dust straight into the enrichment chamber. So I can have that next door to it. So long as I've got it on the output auto-eject. Let's take those out of there. And that out of there. And auto-eject that way. And this one I can set up to receive input from that way. So those 2 now will work together. I'm going to give it power from the underside again, just to make sure it's got power. So now when I put the dust into there, it should crush them. Yes, that should make clumps into dirty dust. And then this purification chamber should work exactly the same. Now, they kind of line up because they do have this function of automatically pushing out to each other. So, I'm pleased with that. But I don't want to necessarily overdo it if it's starting to look a bit odd. If it starts to look a bit weird, or it doesn't quite work out, then I'll spread them out a little bit and make little workstations. Because I've got a lot of space to fill. I expect the tier 4 and 5 to take up a lot of space. But processing should be swift nonetheless. Okay, that presumably needs power as well. Yeah, so we'll connect the power up here. I brought the power from this capacitor bank straight through. So the power comes straight over to the end and then goes back along itself. I could be bringing the power straight down into these if they need tons of power. But we'll see how that works. And then we're going to put some water in the back, I guess. I guess I need to unlock the back to allow water in. We've got import, energy, extra, purple. Okay, so input dark red. That's going into the crusher. Input dark red. The Purification Chamber. It needs oxygen going in there. So it doesn't really have a location as such. I wonder if I can automatically put from the Purification Chamber straight in. So let's get this separator on the go now. Let's put it there. Can I make that go straight out? Oh, there's no movement of things there. So we're going to change this around a minute. Let's put this over here. I've still got 8 slots over there, so we should be okay. Let's put the infinite water next to it. Does it start filling up automatically? No, it does not. So let's take the infinite water source, give it one separator, and just put that down there. Does that then start doing it? It's a basic mechanical pipe, but does it do it? No. Right. I'm hoping these pipes will input-output, because this doesn't have an input or an output. It doesn't have one of those things that you can input-output, like most machines and pipes and stuff. So let's just check out some good old Ender IO fluid conduits, and we'll try those out for size. If I can't get the Mekanism pipes to work, well, that's okay. The Mekanism pipes may look nicer at the end result. That might be good. Right, so if we have this to extract, yeah, water goes straight into there and starts filling up directly as well, but its power supply is going down rapidly as well. But it is making hydrogen and oxygen immediately as well. So getting some power to it is going to be straightforward. Let's go from here. I will, of course, be tidying all of this work up later. This is just checking it out, just making it work. Yeah, let's do it from there. And bring it to here, like so. Okay, so now we're getting power again, so it'll do that. Hydrogen and oxygen. Is there a pump for the pipes? I don't know. Let's try and output from here. Let's see if it'll extract. What will it extract? Doesn't say it's got anything in right now. It doesn't look like it's filling anything up right now. So no. So basic mechanical pipe. One of these sides is probably automatically an output. And I don't necessarily know which one's which on this. So we'll just play it by ear for now. Oh, I'm going up instead of down. Let's go this way. There we go. Right, give me this back. Okay. Gimme. Thank you. Alright, so then this needs to be set to input on the back there. Or do we need to input purple? Extra purple. It doesn't have a connector. Why does it not have a connector? Do I need to hit it with a spanner? Is there a mechanical wrench or something? No. Okay. Alright, so I've been messing around with this chamber a little ways. The separator is separating hydrogen and oxygen. I'm dumping excess hydrogen because I don't have any use for it right now. Got the water supply going in here, but I realised that the basic pipes are probably items. It says pump rates and stuff, but pressurized tubes are probably for, this is probably for liquids like water and lava and stuff like this, whereas the pressurized tube is probably for gases. And as I'm dealing with gases, that's probably what I need to do. I'm not sure which side is which for output though. They all look the same to me, so I'm just gonna see if this connects, to be honest, to start off with. It does connect at least, that's a start. That's further than I got before. Right, and that goes into there. Now, if I have this as an input there, is it going to start pulling it out? doesn't appear to. I made this configurator as well. Let's go. Change push, pull. Ha ha ha! I've changed the pipe to pull. And now it's pulling what out? I hope it's pulling oxygen out. It might actually be pulling hydrogen out. It's pulling the hydrogen out. Typical. I got the wrong side. Alright, well, I can change that. I can change that real quick. Change that real quick and just go that way around. Okay, so that's still pulling, but still. Can I... Oh, and this stuff takes ages to break. Okay, finally. Just those simple mechanics of Mekanism that I don't understand yet. And I'm having to figure it out on the job. So, it's now pulling from the correct side. I believe the old Mekanism, the way I remember it, there was a blue side and a red side for these things. And the blue side got out, put the water in, and but there was two sides to it. I remember seeing something like that. So sides are definitely in need of marking up, but that's so. The right-hand side, as you're looking at it, pumps out the oxygen. So that's okay. We've got that set up now, and I can maneuver all of these pipes and stuff around a little bit. That means now that this is getting oxygen in the purification chamber. So, the purification into crusher. So let's see if this is working at the minute. Let's get some iron out. So if I stick that into there, it uses oxygen and in the purification chamber to create stuff. Stuff and things. All of the things. Gets into there to make iron clumps. Right? The iron clumps. Then I put the iron clumps into the crusher. Looks like it's doing it. Right, that's making a lovely racket with it as well. Auto eject is on. Output that side. Is this got auto? There we go. No, not that side. It needs to be input that side. There we go. That starts receiving from there. So that makes the clumps. The clumps go into the crusher. The crusher then puts the dirty iron dust into the enriching factory. Which you can only do one at a time, but still, that's okay. And then that puts the ore into there, or the dust into there, which then goes into the smelter. Hopefully we'll see something going into the smelter any time now. There we go. Iron dust, and then they get smelted. So that, tier 0, tier 1, tier 2. That's only tier 2. That's only tier 2. But now I am tripling my ores. And, I feel like that is all I'm going to have time for this episode, because I know the next tier is a similar sort of mechanism galore of things and stuff to put things into here. So instead of putting the ores directly into here, the ores go through another process first and then into there and through. I'm having fun. Don't worry, I'm having fun. This is going to be awesome, learning how to do it. I think the main part of it is going to be, once it's all set up and running, then figuring out how to put it into the processing factory. I mean, I could follow diagrams and Wikipedias and stuff and figure out how to put it all together, and I could probably watch a tutorial and just lay it all together in a flat area. But I also would like to make it look cool in the environment that it's in, because I've got plenty of space for it in here. But I would like to make something of it and make it look cool as well. So once I've got it working and running and I understand where all the connectors are and all the connections and processing, I can then start making the room around it. And that will not be next episode, but it should be coming very soon. So thank you very much for watching this episode of Mekanism on the Avant 3 server, the FTOG server. I will see you in the next episode very soon. Goodbye.